So well-designed tests, right? They connect with most of the learned material. Again, the underline on well-designed, that's deliberate, right? If they are based off of the taxonomy, if they are based on sort of a master plan approach to the unit, then, and they're well written, they will connect with most of the material that you taught, okay? As well as the educational objectives. We mentioned that they will force students to review, right? That's something that's sort of like this thing hanging over them that if I don't study, I'm not going to perform. And the review has value to a degree. Obviously, we talked a little bit about its limitations as well. Okay, what else? This was mentioned, I believe, serving as a baseline measurement for the entire class. So how did everybody perform in this specific regard? Now, I don't know how much of us do the post-test analysis. How many of us really study subsections of the test, individual questions? I mentioned that a little bit when I talked about grading horizontally rather than vertically. That could be a really valuable process for us. And I think if you do it a few times, you'll start to see, where are you doing well and where perhaps aren't you doing so well. And then this way you can get that feedback moving forward. Any questions on this? Okay, what are some of the drawbacks? Number one, heavily emphasized or heavily rooted in recall and application rather than to display the skills in action. So they remain to a large degree in the realm of theoretical. They don't necessarily have opportunity to do something with that information that you're sharing. They tend to be reactive rather than creative. And that we mentioned before as well. If the teacher put it on the test, I have an obligation, so to speak, to respond to the question, right? I don't have the ability to create my own, right? I'm working off of somebody else's tool, somebody else's benchmark, so to speak. And of course, it's disproportionately summative. For many of us, if you think about how you grade, I'm guessing that most people in this room, if you're anything like the way I did it, have your test grade total average as somewhere minimally in the range of 50% of the total grade. Maybe that's too high for some of you. Many people make it much higher, right? But the test scores on average, when you factor in, let's say, the 4 tests, the 6 tests of a particular unit, that average represents a very high percentage of the student's performance. So most of the assessment is on that very end point, which means if I don't test well, if I woke up on the wrong side of the bed that particular morning, if I'm dealing with a personal issue, so to speak, that is making it difficult for me, or the teacher didn't structure the test in a way that was advantageous for my knowledge, I'm in a bind. Because too much of the emphasis of the grade is placed in the summative component.